It looks very different in two main respects. The first is the coaching experience that I provide and the clientele who are attracted to that experience. And the second is what SpeakWell offers. So I'll speak to the first point, which is the coaching experience and the clientele. So at the beginning, it was me, a library room that I would rent out using my university library card.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. Before Purple Circle, I started and scaled several 7 and 8 figure career coaching businesses myself and consulted with 2 career coaching businesses that are now doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or just building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. Today, our guest is Jordyn Benattar. Jordyn is a public speaking expert, executive coach, and attorney known for helping professionals become world-class communicators. With a background in law, acting, and entrepreneurship, she brings a unique blend of performance, strategy, and authenticity to the art of speaking. Through her coaching business called SpeakWell, she empowers leaders to own the room, elevate their voice, and unlock career growth through confident communication. Jordyn, we're thrilled to have you with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're more than welcome to be here. Jordyn, tell me a little bit more about what inspired you to become an executive coach.
Well, when I was 19 years old, I was a college student. I took a summer job at the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, otherwise known as IPEC. And I spent the summer in London, England, opening up their first ever UK branch. And in order to do that, I had to go through this 3-day training camp here in Toronto, where I'm based. And it completely opened my eyes to the world of coaching. At that time, coaching was not nearly as common as it is today. And I saw participants enter this training really lacking self-confidence, lacking vision, lacking a sense of self, and leaving completely transformed. Highlight of my life, best experience ever. And I was hooked. I had already had a little bit of experience in the coaching sphere prior to that, but it was really that experience that turned me on to the art and science of coaching. Now, in terms of doubling down on executive coaching and public speaking coaching specifically, that was what I knew I wanted my niche to be. There are a million fantastic life coaches, business coaches, executive coaches, but my background specifically is in, as you mentioned, it's in law, it's in acting, performance on camera, and it's in competitive debate and public speaking. I used to represent Canada at international tournaments where I would give persuasive speeches and hope to win an award. And the common thread through all of those experiences, both as a hobby and also in the professional world, was communication. It was powerful, clear, confident communication. So that's kind of my journey to executive coaching, with a very strong focus on communication and speaking specifically. And the reason I realized that this was not just an untapped market, but really an unmet need, is because I saw so many talented professionals falling short of their goals purely due to a lack of strong communication skills. So that means, getting the interview and then not getting the job, or making it to the pitch but not getting the funding, or getting to the promotion but not getting it. So that's what led me to create SpeakWell. And it's a public speaking and communications coaching business. My mission, as you said, really is to help leaders enhance those skills so that they can win more in business and in life. Rexhen, I would love to
Great.
redo the latter part of that answer. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'll if the editor could, after I say powerful, clear, confident communication, I'll just now get into SpeakWell. So that's how I got into executive coaching and that's how I got into executive coaching more generally. But then in terms of doubling down, no, I already said doubling down. Okay. So that's how I got into executive coaching, but really honing in on my background and making sure that I was fulfilling an unmet need in the market. I realized that there were so many talented, really bright individuals who were falling short of their career goals simply by virtue of lacking strong communication skills. They weren't getting the job even though they had the interview. They didn't get the funding even though they gave the pitch. So the gap there was because they didn't communicate effectively. So at SpeakWell, I made it my mission to help people speak with confidence and with influence and to get more of what they want in life.
Perfect. And so basically, you initially received great coaching. You liked the experience. You also saw other people gain a lot of value from that, and that kind of inspired you to start it. So you've been doing this for quite some time right now, almost more than 13 years, right?
Yeah.
And what does that look like? How does the journey look like, having your own coaching business from the point that you started to where you are at today?
It looks very different in two main respects. The first is the coaching experience that I provide and the clientele who are attracted to that experience. And the second is what SpeakWell offers. So I'll speak to the first point, which is the coaching experience and the clientele. So at the beginning, it was me, a library room that I would rent out using my university library card, and a handful of clients who trusted me to help them reach whatever their goal was. Most of them were students. They were on the cusp of a really exciting next chapter in their career. They were interviewing for consulting jobs and medical school and sometimes to grad school, or they were raising money for their very first startup. And it all went so well. So whoever would come to me for coaching, even though we were just in that small little library room and I was using a whiteboard to show them frameworks and such, they all achieved what they wanted to. 100% success rate, which I was really proud of. And the word of mouth spread very quickly, demand grew, and that's what gave me, I guess, the go ahead to start refining my offers into packages and build a pretty clear path to success, because I was doing a lot of the same stuff over and over. So systematizing that. And I created this premium structure around how I work. Now, don't forget, in between, I was at some point in law school. I also got my MBA, had some work experience under my belt. So this was very much a side hustle still at that point. And once I decided to depart from a career in law and to pursue this full time, that's when I said, what I want to do is serve those premium clients. So the premium experience followed that. I'm using online tools. People really feel like I am in their corner, part of their team, an extension of themselves. I use many resources to really enhance that client experience so it feels like a completely first class coaching existence. And now I find myself, as a result, coaching CEOs, lots of others in the C-suite. I've coached judges, I've coached clergy, I've coached massive teams of Fortune 500 corporations. So that's the experience and the clientele and how the journey from point A to point B. And then the second thing that's evolved quite a bit is offerings. At the beginning, it was just that one-on-one private coaching, and I've had to learn and adapt to market needs. And also, really, because there's only one of me, we needed ways to serve more people and also serve more of those people's needs. So in addition to private coaching, we now have a multitude of phenomenal topic-focused workshops. I mean, if you're curious about what they're about, you can go onto SpeakWell's website and go under group experiences. You'll see they range from persuasive storytelling to how to succeed in management presentations. So everything, it's diverse, but they're all anchored in effective communication. We also have ACE, which is a powerful 24/7 AI-powered coach that coaches you live on calls, and you can also practice with it and do role plays, and it'll give you constructive feedback based on SpeakWell models and frameworks. We have our complete public speaking course, the Confident Communicator, which launches this year. And I am so incredibly excited because I think it's the best thing on the internet. And then, of course, we also have other coaches in our roster. So it's not like you're getting lots of me's, but you are getting lots of fantastic, qualified experts who can guide you in different ways and have different styles. So that is how our offerings have evolved. And I think we're just getting started.
Wow, I really like that. So you have multiple offerings, and I'm excited about your course as well. Is it coming anytime soon this year, or is it maybe later?
Yeah, the goal is mid-year. The course is completely done. We're adding those final touches to make it absolutely perfect and seamless. And I honestly, this is a culmination of, you mentioned over a decade, probably a decade and a half of experience doing this. This is everything. You want to learn how to have better structure so you don't ramble. The course has you covered. You want to hone your mindset to be more confident. The course has you covered. You want practice tips and to know exactly what to do the day of your presentation. The course has you covered. And I'm the one facilitating it, all 12 or 13 modules that we have. So you're hearing it from the horse's mouth, and it's a pretty phenomenal experience that you can enjoy at your own pace.
And when it comes to the people that you work with, you mentioned judges, you mentioned executives. Is there a specific industry? I'm wondering if there's like overlap between like your uh, what you've studied, you being an attorney, or is that not always the case?
It's a great question. And sometimes I find myself in circles. So I'll be in the real estate circle, I'll be in the legal world. Like I was with a law firm this morning. But I like to say that SpeakWell is quite industry agnostic because as a private coach, I will immerse myself so deeply into the world of the client. It doesn't matter. It's about really getting to know them and getting to know their business on that coaching engagement. And it's about the skill. It's not about the content. I'm not the expert on real estate. I am the expert on how to communicate about real estate. So it's a skill that's highly transferable, which I think clients also find really beneficial because oftentimes their audiences aren't experts either. And it's about how do you distill complex information into digestible chunks that anybody can understand. So, no, I don't focus on one particular industry. I think that would make me, I'd be maybe doing a disservice to people that are coming to me for public speaking skills alone. That said, I would say finance, law, real estate, startup slash entrepreneurship, and HR,
Hmm.
recruiting. Those are probably the biggest that come to mind right now. But that's changed, right? Like I started working with students, and that's evolved over time.
Interesting. The reason why I ask is because I had a coach a couple like a week ago that I was interviewing in the podcast, and he was focused. He was himself an attorney, and he was only helping in the legal world executives that basically was an executive coach, but focused on the legal industry. So that was interesting. I thought that was also a focus for you as well. But it does make a lot of sense that in your case, it would be a disservice to only focus to that because you can provide so much value to a broader audience.
Yeah. I mean, they all have something in common, don't get me wrong. It's usually people who are highly ambitious and take the way that they present themselves very seriously. So that's not an industry, but that's definitely a common trait. And the idea is no matter who you are, whatever industry you're in, I want to take you from going from overthinking and under delivering to owning the room and really making people listen.
And when it comes to you generating clients, and we talked a little bit about this at the beginning as well, you mentioned that mostly it is coming through referrals, right?
Yes, word of mouth. It's something I'm proud of because I have never invested a red cent into advertising. There are no paid ads, at least at this point, for SpeakWell. And essentially, what happens is clients, they'll have a great experience. They will refer their colleagues or their teams to SpeakWell. And I really lean into that by creating a referral worthy experience. They also now do find me on LinkedIn. I don't even know how the algorithm works, but they find me. And they'll also see me in action speaking at an event, like the Elevate conference, or they'll sign up for an event that their company hosts that I am the guest speaker for, or I'll be sitting on a panel, or I'll be at another type of conference. But I would say it's kind of a testament to the transformation that SpeakWell provides if you're really hearing it from someone who has lived it themselves.
Hmm. Yeah, and that is like proof that it works so well, right? When you get a lot of referrals that coaching is working so well. So I really like that. And when it comes to the future, do you have any goals that you are working towards for the next 1 to 3 years? I know you mentioned your course as well. Apart from it, is there anything else in the horizon?
Well, the goal I always have in front of my face is premium quality, life changing coaching. And that goal, it's been achieved over and over with every client that we serve and the wins that they've had. But like you just said with the course, it's a matter of making those same amazing results available to more people. So, one way we're doing that is through the course. Another way is ACE, that AI powered coach that you have on your computer that gives you SpeakWell feedback in real time. And then also just expanding my coaching roster so that there are others who can deliver the SpeakWell method and more clients can benefit from our frameworks and the change that we're able to create. And this is really just all in pursuit of my larger mission to empower people no matter where you are in your speaking journey, whether you have a ton of experience or you're completely petrified of public speaking, to speak well so that you can really achieve more in your professional life and your personal life. And I always say it is never too early and it's also never too late. So I like long term, I know you asked 1 to 3 years, but long term, I really see SpeakWell as synonymous with confident, compelling communication worldwide. And we're on our way. Like we have clients in Denmark, in Milan, in Paris, in London, all across the US and Canada. So the spread and the reach of SpeakWell is there. Just having more people benefit from our systems and processes is where we're headed.
And throughout time, throughout these 13 years plus, what would you say have been the best resources or support for you growing your coaching business in terms of?
Okay, this isn't an investment, but I'm just going to do a huge shout out to my family and my friends who have been so supportive of me and also leaving what one would consider a very stable career in law to pursue this full time. But when you talk about resources and where I've put time and money into, the first is making sure I'm a good coach to myself. So, frequent goal setting, vision boarding, journaling, also not being shy to seek advice from others who have done it well and walked this path in the past, even if they're not in the coaching industry, but they've scaled a business. The second thing is client feedback, and I always have systems to capture this. So, feedback during our engagement, feedback after our engagement, and every single piece of it has helped me refine my process and double down on what worked. And this has been a theme since day one. I remember some of the first workshops I ever ran. I would hand out pieces of paper and people would fill them out, and then I would spend time putting it into Excel. And the world has changed a lot since then. But getting immediate customer feedback is so, so key because who better to ask than the people you serve about what they want? And then finally, I would say there is no money better spent than putting it into systems, anything that will save you time, right? If we're talking about scale here, online tools, automation, invest in what saves you time, money, gives you peace of mind, just keeping things really simple. So for me, I have a client management system. I use Practice right now. I have online forms that I'll generate, even ACE, like that online AI tool. I'll send out reminders for appointments so that late cancellations are kept to a minimum. And I just think whatever you can do to give yourself 15 minutes back in the day can be so worth it.
Especially automations and yeah, having systems in place to reduce that admin work to a minimum so that you can focus on coaching. And is there something like throughout these 13 years, is there something that you wish you had known first when you started growing your coaching business that was an unexpected lesson learned?
Yes, it is that scaling is not just about more, it's about better. So I learned this the hard way. I'm not going to lie. I used to try and have my hand in every pot, but growth doesn't always mean adding more services immediately and making them just mediocre. It's not about putting out more content. It's not about being on more platforms, right? Real growth can actually come from narrowing your focus, tightening your offers, making your niche so abundantly clear and crisp to people so that you are the go to in that industry, right? And doubling down on what really works. So, an example I'll share is a few years ago. I remember it was during the pandemic. It was Black Friday, and I had received advice from a fellow coach that Black Friday is amazing for getting, it's really just like a cash grab. Like people are willing to spend money on sales for Black Friday. So I put a ton of work into creating this Black Friday promotional offer on Instagram. Guess how many people bought my coaching services off Instagram at probably 50% off?
I don't know, it would depend on your audience, but I'll let you answer that.
Zero. Zero. And I'll tell you why. One, to invest in a high ticket offer, you're not going to do that on Black. What people want on Black Friday is Sephora. They they want been on their mind and on their bucket list for a long time that are easy to get, things that you can return. I'm not saying that coaching isn't that for some practitioners, but not for my business. And then the second thing is that I have a tiny Instagram audience relative to my LinkedIn network. So, my clients, if you're thinking kind of that executive level, right? Founders, CEO, C suite level professionals, they're not living on Instagram. That isn't their source of news or inspiration. So, not only did I create an offer that wasn't appealing to, or sorry, it wasn't, I guess, ripe for that particular day, but I was also marketing it on the wrong platform. And so I learned a lot from that experience. Just because that works for others, and I didn't mean that I needed to be on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and TikTok. So less noise, more impact. My audience lives on LinkedIn. I know that now. They know who I am, they know what I'm about, and it's actually helped me get really clear. So when you ask about what I wish I knew from the beginning, it's that sometimes less can be more.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes a lot of sense when you say that occasions like Black Friday, and especially when the audience is executives, I don't think they're waiting for the Black Friday to receive coaching. So, yeah.
Or then.
Yeah, it comes down to like knowing exactly your audience and if certain things would apply to you. They might apply to some coaches. I don't want to rule anyone out, but yeah, I would say that's a very good lesson learned there. What are some like currently in scaling your coaching business? What are some of the biggest challenges that you're facing?
It's always time. There's never enough time to do anything. Managing capacity, toggling between existing projects and future goals. But I try to balance that by planning as far in advance as possible. So it's not like, what does my next week look like? What does my next year or quarter look like? And then blocking off time. So I'm just going to, I guess, go from what are the biggest challenges into some of what are the biggest solutions to that particular challenge for me. I find it really valuable to budget for buffer. So, oh, I think that it's going to take me 15 minutes to send a client notes after our session. What if it's a really deep, complex session? Maybe let's budget half an hour just in case. And the worst thing that happens is that you have an extra 15 minutes on your hands. What a win, right? And then I'd also say being able to design offers that serve whatever your multiple goals are. So for SpeakWell, it's the private, hands-on, highly customized experience, which is the direct results that we're known for. But then we also have the course, which is where I'm also spending a ton of time, which is the scalable offer, and that's an investment, and it's built to deliver deep transformation without me needing to be in the room in the future. So in both scenarios, the value is meant to compound as the business grows. But to answer the original question about what the challenge is, it's always time and capacity, but preparing for that. If you're able to prepare for that, to juggle multiple balls and make sure that things aren't so chaotic, then let's say you're doing a pretty good job.
And you're already like you've taken quite a few steps to do that, with especially like with your course coming out soon, with the AI being helpful to many of your clients. That definitely probably has cleared out some of the capacity compared to like what it was for you maybe on year 3, 4 of you doing coaching 101.
For sure.
Um,
I also add, in addition to it expanding capacity for me, it also it's also grown my market capture. So if private coaching is a high ticket offer, which it is in my business, I'm now able to offer somebody a transformation at a significantly lower price point. Sure, it's not
mhm.
as high touch, but you're still getting fantastic content. You're getting support, and you have the tools readily available to you whenever you want them. So I'd say it's a win-win for myself in terms of how much time I have. And then it's also a win for the business, and it's a win for people who otherwise wouldn't be able to access SpeakWell services.
Yeah, and um, throughout the time of you doing this, juggling multiple projects within your own business, how do you currently handle the balance between delivering great client results and managing business growth on the other side? I know capacity has been an issue for you, but it seems like planning ahead probably has been the solution to that.
Yeah, you know what, when things are going really well, it's so hard to divert your attention away from that to focus on what you think needs to come next. But I am here to tell you that it is so worth it. Just carving out even 2 hours a day. I know that sounds like a lot, but 2 hours, if you're seriously committing to a new project or a new product line or service, you need to plan for it, and it's not going to happen overnight. And my biggest naivete is underestimating how long some of those things can take or how expensive they're going to be. So making sure that you do the adequate planning up front and give yourself a long runway to get there. So that's the planning and the time blocking that I spoke about before. And then also making sure that whatever you are working toward is something that makes you happy. Don't do it just because all the other coaches in your industry are doing it. If you don't feel like you need to launch a podcast because everybody's launching a podcast, then don't. Like, you have to enjoy your job. That's why you chose this career to begin with, right? So that's how I strive to deliver great client results, like holding fast to the things that make me feel fulfilled and keep my high ticket, high touch clients feel really, really supported and taken care of, while at the same time dedicating large chunks of time of my calendar to planning for the future. And if it weren't for that, the course wouldn't be here. ACE wouldn't be here. So it's kind of like keeping your eye on the ball, but also having another ball that you're keeping your eye on at all times.
Mhm. And is there any final advice you'd give to other executive or coaches who are going to be watching this that are looking to scale their impact?
Yeah, I think you said it with the word impact. I think it's really important to get super clear on the transformation, on the impact that you provide. Don't just focus on the service. Don't tell people what you do. Tell them what that accomplishes for them. So, as you're scaling, you want to build around that transformation, right? And maybe that starts with one service and then it starts to grow. So for me, it was private coaching, and then it became workshops, like taking some of the lessons from private coaching and making them scalable group experiences. Then you want to systematize, right? What works so that you can do that transformation at scale without diluting it. So for me, that eventually turned into a course. Like, there are lots of portions from various workshops in the course, although they they are different in other ways, but really thinking about scaling your impact. Don't just scale your service. And finally, don't underestimate the power of presence. Show up, go to the events, be bold, market yourself, understand that what you're doing is helpful to people. You're not selling, you're helping, assuming what you do is something that you have a strong sense of conviction in and really does generate the results that you're promising. So know your energy is your brand, and really being present and showing up is one of the best things that you can do, not just for the business as a whole, but for yourself as a leader.
Thank you so much, Jordyn. And for anyone who wants to connect with you or find you, they can find you on your LinkedIn, on Jordyn Benattar. They can also look you up on letspeakwell.com, which is your SpeakWell website. Is there any other way people can connect with you in the future?
I mean, for those of you who are actually on Instagram, it's at SpeakWell. And always feel free to send me an email, or you can reach us at speakwellnow.ca. Our domain is actually about to change, so LinkedIn might be the best for now, and follow along there.
Thank you, Jordyn. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Likewise, thank you for having me.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This conversation was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to 7 and 8 figures without burning out. To learn more about Purple Circle, our community, and how we can help you grow your business, visit joinpurplecircle.com.